The large hall inside the station floated above a ring of glowing nebulae. Visitors from every direction had gathered there for a grand banquet hosted by a wealthy trade guild. The hall was filled with decorated pillars, silver tables, polished glass windows, and long banners showing symbols of different worlds. There were glowing drones, shimmering plates, and quiet melodic tunes playing from hidden speakers. In that place, far from Earth, a human waitress moved between the guests carrying trays. Her name was Lena, and she kept her steps soft and steady. She wore a simple uniform and tied her hair in a short ponytail so she could move faster. Most guests did not pay attention to her. They only cared about their meals and their own conversations. Humans were new to this part of the galaxy. Some species welcomed them, some ignored them, and some laughed at them. Few believed humans had any special talent beyond physical labor or basic trade. Most saw Earth as young and unimportant. Lena had heard comments about humans many times during her shifts. She stayed calm. She needed the job to pay for her studies at the station's academy. She kept her head low and worked hard. The guild's celebration was the busiest night of her month. High-ranking leaders, engineers, pilots, scholars, and merchants filled the room. The crowd was louder than usual. The band that was supposed to perform for the event had been delayed, and the hall's host used recorded music until they arrived. As she passed one table, she heard a group of guests laughing. They were not harmful, but their voices carried the sharp tone of amusement mixed with pride. They were from a species with bright patterns on their skin and narrow silver eyes. They wore robes with reflective thread and lifted their polished cups in slow, elegant movements. One of them noticed Lena passing by with a tray. He tapped the table and said loudly enough for others to notice, "You there, human? You work here, yes? It is said your kind enjoys making noise on old devices. Do you perform for us too?" The others at the table laughed. They were not mocking her cruelly, but their tone suggested they did not take humans seriously. Lena paused and held the tray firmly. She gave a polite smile. "I only serve tonight." Another guest leaned forward. "So you cannot perform? Your species claims to enjoy creative acts. Some say you have talent for rhythm. Some say you express emotion through sound in unusual ways. Yet here you are carrying plates. No human instrument here for you to tap on." The table laughed again. Lena felt her cheeks warm, but she stayed respectful. Across the hall, one of the guild coordinators walked toward them. He looked slightly stressed as he checked the schedule on his device. "The band is still 30 minutes away," he said. "Inside we need something to keep the guests engaged. If the energy drops too low, the guild leader will blame me for poor planning." One of the guests at the table smirked. "You could ask the human waitress. She claims she cannot perform, but humans do enjoy showing off. Let her try something. It may be amusing while we wait." The coordinator looked at Lena with surprise. "You play anything?" Lena hesitated. She had not touched a real instrument since arriving at the station. She practiced using digital keyboards in her room, but she had not performed for anyone in months. She loved music deeply, but she worked long shifts and kept her passion hidden because the station culture was very focused on trade and order. There was little time for artistic expression unless someone was already well known. "I know piano," she said in a quiet voice, "but only if you truly need someone." The coordinator nodded quickly. "If you can help, please do. There is a real piano on the small stage near the window. We keep it as a display piece. The guild likes showing it off, though no one here knows how to play it. If you feel confident, I will grant you permission." The guests at the table exchanged amused smiles. "Let the human try. It cannot be worse than silence." Lena carefully placed her tray on a side counter. Her heart beat fast. She had not expected this. She walked toward the small stage with steady but nervous steps. All eyes turned slowly toward her. Some guests whispered. Some raised their brows. A few chuckled softly like they expected a child trying something too difficult. The piano stood under a soft light. It was made of dark wood with a glossy finish. The platform under it had transparent panels that showed the swirling colors of the nebula. Outside the window, Lena approached the bench and wiped her palms on her uniform. She sat down and let her fingers hover above the keys. For a moment, she closed her eyes. She remembered her small home back on Earth. She remembered the old upright piano her grandmother kept in her living room. She remembered evenings when she played while the warm lights filled the room. She remembered the feeling of release and comfort. She took a slow breath and opened her eyes. The hall quieted. At first, she pressed a single key. A soft note echoed through the chamber. The sound surprised some of the alien guests. who were not used to the natural tone of a real acoustic instrument. Then, she placed both hands gently and began. The first melody rose like clear water moving across smooth stones. It was calm, slow, and filled with emotion. Guests turned their heads even before they realized they were doing it. Conversations faded. The coordinator froze in place, staring with wide eyes. Lina's hands moved with growing confidence. She did not force the notes. She let them flow. Her fingers glided over the keys in gentle but precise movements. Every sound carried warmth. Every shift in tone seemed deliberate. She played a piece she had shaped herself through years of quiet practice. It started soft, then grew brighter. It mixed joy and longing. It echoed the feeling of being far from home but still carrying hope. The hall filled with a rich sound that felt alive. The group that had laughed earlier sat still now. Their expressions changed from amusement to interest. Their silver eyes followed Lina's hands like they were witnessing something unexpected. As she reached the center of the piece, she added quick flourishes. Her fingers struck the keys with sharp rhythm, then softened them again. She created patterns that rippled like waves of starlight. The sound rose through the high ceiling and filled every corner of the hall. More guests approached the stage area. Some stood silently with their glowing drinks in hand. Some closed their eyes to feel the vibration. Others leaned forward, confused but amazed that a human waitress could create something so expressive. Lina continued. She let each note guide the next. She forgot the hall. She forgot the audience. She played only for the music itself. Her heart shaped every chord. Her hands followed every emotion. She carried from earth to the station. Then she shifted into the most powerful part of the piece. Her right hand moved in racing notes that climbed upward. Her left hand pressed strong chords below. The sound swelled like a rising tide. The room vibrated faintly under the intensity. Some guests gasped. Some placed their hands on their chests. Some stared as if they were watching something impossible. Humans were known for curiosity and stubbornness, but many species had never considered that humans carried deep creative artistry. Lina showed them something they had not expected, something raw and human. When she reached the final movement, she slowed the notes gently. She let the melody fall like soft rain. The strength faded into tenderness. Each sound touched the hall like a quiet farewell. When the last note struck, it lingered in the air for a long breath before dissolving. Then silence. Absolute silence. Lina's hands rested on the keys. She felt her heartbeat in her chest. She did not dare look up yet. She wondered if she had made a mistake by accepting the request. Then the silence broke. A wave of applause swept across the hall. It was strong. It was sincere. Some species did not clap with hands, but used small vibrating devices that produced melodic, approval tones. Others stamped their feet lightly. Some simply nodded with deep respect, but all showed appreciation. The coordinator stepped forward with disbelief and pride on his face. That was incredible. I had no idea you could perform like that. The guests who had laughed earlier stood from their seats. Their silver eyes no longer held amusement. They carried a different expression now, surprise mixed with admiration. One of them approached her and bowed slightly. We underestimated you, and we underestimated your kind. That performance was extraordinary. You have shown us something we did not expect from a human. Lina stood up quietly. Thank you. I only wanted to help. Another guest from a different table spoke loud enough for all to hear. It appears humans bring more to the galaxy than trade routes. They bring beauty too. A soft cheer followed. The hall's energy shifted. The celebration no longer felt dull or tense. The guests talked more openly. The atmosphere grew warm and connected. Even without the official band, the evening had become memorable. Lina stepped away from the piano, ready to return to her duties. But the coordinator raised his hand to stop her. No, after a performance like that, you are not going back to carrying trays, at least not tonight. Stay near the stage. If the guests want to hear something again, we will ask you. You deserve recognition. Lina hesitated. But I am only a part-time worker. Not after tonight, the coordinator said. Your talent belongs on larger stages. Some guests approached and asked her where she learned to play. She answered kindly. A pilot from a distant star system asked if humans had many musicians. She told him that Earth had countless artists in many forms. A scientist wondered how humans created such emotional depth through simple keys. She explained that music was an old part of human culture. The guild leader soon arrived, having been informed of what happened. He was a tall figure with calm authority. He walked toward Lina and gave her a respectful nod. You changed the tone of this entire night. That is not something even trained performers manage easily. You have done more than entertain. You reminded us that the younger species in the galaxy can offer wonders in unexpected ways. Lena felt her throat tighten slightly with emotion, but she stayed composed. I'm glad the music helped. The guild leader gestured toward the piano. If the band is still delayed, would you honor us with another piece? Lena nodded. She returned to the bench, feeling a little more confident this time. The guests quieted again. She placed her hands on the keys and started another gentle melody. It was lighter than the first piece, a playful tune that carried joy and hope. The hall filled again with warm sound. By the time the official band finally arrived, they discovered that the event was already alive with energy thanks to her. They listened from the side for a few minutes, impressed by the unexpected scene. When the night ended, the guild leader approached her again. You will not remain unnoticed after this. I will send your name to several cultural circles in the station. They will want to hear you. A talent like yours should not stay hidden. Lena felt grateful. Her dream had always been to share music, but she had buried that dream under the weight of work and responsibility. She never imagined that a sudden request during a busy shift would open a new path. As the guests began to leave the hall, many approached her to express thanks. Some bowed, some placed a hand on their chest in their own gesture of respect, some simply smiled. The group that had laughed earlier came one last time. One of them spoke softly. Your performance changed our view of humans. We hope to hear you again. Lena smiled. Thank you. That means a lot to me. When the hall finally emptied and the lights dimmed, she touched the piano one more time, grateful for the unexpected moment that changed her life. In a galaxy filled with advanced technology and towering civilizations, it was a simple human melody that reminded many species that even the smallest voice can carry something powerful. And on that night, the waitress who had been underestimated became the center of admiration, showing that humanity had more to offer than anyone realized.